snack. Me and you gonna have a little chat about books. Hi guys, I am here today to do a super exciting video. I always love watching these videos and I also love making these videos. This video is going to be my most anticipated releases in science fiction and fantasy for the next 6 months. So there are a lot of books. I think I'm going to split this into 2 parts because I have tons of books to talk to you about and novellas and all sorts. And I want to talk to you about all of them because I'm still excited about all of them. I don't want to wait 3 months and do another one in 3 months' time for the other books, so I'm just going to cram it all into maybe 2 different videos. So this is going to be part 1, and then I will do a part 2 that you'll see super soon. Hopefully you guys are excited about some of these too. Hopefully there is someone here that you've never heard of and that I can get you excited about. So let's get started. I'm going to go in publication order. Most of the dates that I'm going to tell you are UK dates. They are subject to change. Of course, publishers are always changing the dates around, so none of this is guaranteed. Hopefully it will be on the dates that they are listed as. I got all of these dates off Amazon, so hopefully that is right. And as I said, I'll be telling you the UK dates because I am in the UK. So if you're in the US, they might be a bit earlier or a bit later, and the same applies to all the other countries. So with all that said, let's get started. The first book that I'm super excited about and is coming out super soon is actually one that I have an advanced reader copy of. This is Hope and Red and it's by June-Sep. I actually found this in a secondhand shop, which was amazing because it hasn't been released yet. It is being released super soon, as I say. This one actually comes out on June the 30th. I have seen a lot of buzz about this on Twitter and on Orbit. They are the ones publishing this. I have heard great things about this. I've heard that it's a kind of similar story setting to Brent Weeks, and if you like his writing style, you're probably going to like this one. I love Brent Weeks' writing style, so I'm really hopeful that I will like this. As far as I understand it, we have Hope, who is a lone survivor of a brutal massacre, and Red, who is a young orphan boy, and somehow their stories intertwine, and it's a big, chunky, epic sort of fantasy book. So it sounds right up my street. Definitely one to look out for, coming out on the 30th of June. The next one I have on my list is because I read another book by the same author. The book I read already by this author is Theatre of the Gods by M. Sedaine. So his new book is coming out in July, and this is actually not a continuation of the series. Apparently it's a completely new, I think it's a standalone book, and this one sounds kind of wacky, kind of crazy, which is exactly the same vein as Theatre of the Gods. That one's a pretty wacky, crazy one too. I would describe M. Sedaine's writing as kind of a crossover between Douglas Adams, Terry Pratchett, and he's just a great inventor of worlds, ideas, crazy inventions, crazy characters, and sprawling, epic, great plots. I definitely think that this will be an interesting one. As far as I know, it's about a food critic who goes to a place where the rich people live in seclusion, and people there are supposed to know their fish knives from their butter knives, and apparently the people who wait on the house that he goes to visit are trained with brutal efficiency to enforce the house rules, whatever they might be. It's described on Goodreads and Amazon as blurring the lines between horror, sci-fi and a detective story, and it sounds as though it's going to be quite imaginative, quite wacky, quite surreal, and I like the sound of all of that, so I'm definitely intrigued. This one comes out on July 7th in the UK, and I will certainly be picking up a copy. The next one I have to tell you guys about, again, comes out fairly soon, and this one again is a release by an author I have previously read. So the book I previously read by this author is Bloodsong by Anthony Ryan. I've also read the next one in this series, but I didn't like it as much, so I just count Bloodsong as a standalone book, even though it is part of a series, because I didn't like the next 2. His new book and his new series sound really intriguing, so I'm definitely excited to pick them up. The book he's releasing is called The Waking Fire, and this one comes out on July the 7th as well, and I'm super intrigued by this. It says it's set in a world where the blood of drakes, which are kind of similar animals to dragons, is really highly valued. People really crave it because it can grant them powers if it's mixed into elixirs, and we follow 3 main characters. One of them is someone who is on a hunt to try and track down this very brutal, famous drake whose blood would mean riches and wealth for the rest of his life if he was able to capture it. We also follow a kind of pirate-esque person and someone who is kind of in slavery to this empire, and it sounds very interesting. Apparently there's sort of a steampunk vibe throughout the series as well. I am hugely intrigued about how Anthony Ryan is going to tackle a new series, because this book I adored, the second and third book I didn't love. I'm interested to see whether the first book in this series will be more in this vein or if it will be more in the other one. So we'll see. I'm definitely hopeful, and I certainly want to pick it up and try it and hope for better things. So we'll see. The next one I have on this list is one by an author I haven't heard of. I think it might be a debut, I'm not entirely sure. But this one is called The Devourers by Indra Das. I hear that this is a book that has come out in, I think, some other countries, and it's now being released in English, so I'm not sure if this is translated or if it's just taken a while to get over. But the author is being compared to the likes of Neil Gaiman, Margaret Atwood, China Miéville, so a lot of really kind of whimsical, magical realism-esque style story writers, and I'm very intrigued about that. So in this story we're focusing on an Indian landscape, and we follow a main character called Alok, who meets a mysterious stranger who enthralls him in the night. He tells him about a secret, and this secret is so interesting to our main character that he decides he is going to help this stranger by transcribing various battered old notebooks, weathered parchment, and even once living skins, and he's going to help this mysterious stranger. As the story is gradually opened up to them by transcribing and translating all the documents, they realise that it tells the story of this rather brutal beast-like race, and it kind of tells this very dark story that Alok, our main character, starts to become obsessed with, and he seems more and more eager to unlock the mysteries of the past. So it sounds really interesting, definitely a book that I'm very much looking forward to, and apparently the visuals and the way that this author writes is fantastic too, so that's also a massive bonus. Another series that is coming out with a new book and is also by an author whom I have previously read is Gail Carriger's new series, the new book in her new series, I should say. I have already read the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger, which is this one. I've also started this new series, the Custard Protocol series, with Imprudence, which is the first one. The second one in that series is now going to be coming out. It's coming out in July on the 19th. And this one is called Imprudence. I don't want to give away an awful lot about what this one is, but it focuses on the main character of Prudence, who is nicknamed Rue, and her best friend Prim, and together they go on all sorts of steampunk-esque adventures in a kind of Victorian history setting, vampires and werewolves and crazy mystical creatures of the night. So I definitely love this series. I think Gail Carriger is witty beyond all comparison, and I can't wait to see what the girls get up to in this next storyline. The next one on my list is called The Race, and this is by Nina Allen. This one is set in Great Britain, and it's set in a world which is scarred by fracking, which is really interesting to me because I don't think I've seen any other books kind of pitched with that as the idea. I believe that this one focuses on two main characters. We have Christy, who is very afraid of her older brother and wants to escape her life with him. She has a desire to get out of the area that they grew up, and so she contacts Alex, who is a stranger that she's never met before but she knows by name. Together they must face their demons, and we also follow another character who is called Marie, and Marie has been raised by the government in this secret area which is all to do with smart dogs, whatever they might be, and she has to try and escape this by undertaking a journey through some ancient shipping lanes and basically being pursued by a whale, which sounds kind of crazy. Apparently it's the story of 4 different people, and we follow their lives, and obviously they kind of come together somehow in the end. I think it's a science fiction more than it is a fantasy, so I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm hopeful that I will really like this one. This comes out also on July the 19th. The next one I have to talk about should come as no surprise to a lot of you. This is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. It is a book version of the script that is actually part of the play. Hopefully that makes sense. Basically, this comes out on the 31st of July. I don't have tickets to go and see The Cursed Child. I don't have plans to go see it anytime soon, although I would love to sometime if tickets become readily available. I definitely would love to read the book though, because I think, you know, it's a new Harry Potter story. J.K. Rowling wrote it, even though she wrote it with John Tiffany. I'm still intrigued about what happens in this story. I believe it's set after the ending of Harry Potter, and we get to see all of our characters who we know and love from the main series as they are all grown up. That's all I know about it. I've avoided all the spoilers online, so I'm hopeful that I will go into this and enjoy it, even though it's going to be written in script format. We'll see if that works. It might be terrible, but either way I want it for my Harry Potter collection, so I'll be picking it up when it comes out on the 31st of July. The next one I have on my list is again a science fiction one, so that's pretty awesome that I've got a few of them on this list. This one is called Behind the Throne, and it is a debut book by K.B. Waggers. And this one I'm very intrigued by because it's about a young lady called Hale. She has, for some reason, abandoned her planet and she's gone off into the solar system, but when we pick up the story, she is being dragged back to her home empire. She was born to rule the empire, but she escaped and ran away, and now she is back there and she's hating every minute, but she has to try and figure out what actually happened to her two sisters. She's had various assassination attempts on herself, and her two sisters have already died, so it's kind of a mystery sci-fi story blend, I think. It's being compared to Star Wars, but isn't everything in science fiction compared to Star Wars nowadays? But it also says that it will please fans of the authors James S.A. Corey, who writes the Expanse series, and Becky Chambers, who wrote The Long Way to Small Angry Planet. And I really enjoyed both of those authors, so I hope that this will be a really good one too. We shall have to see. This one comes out on August the 4th. The next one I have to tell you about is also one I have an ARC copy for, and this is Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I am very excited to dive into this one super soon, but it doesn't actually come out until August the 11th. This is the story of a young girl called Mia who sees everything around her taken away, and she's one of the only people to survive that day, and she grows up in the shadows. Mia has to become a weapon so that she can strike back at the enemies who took everything from her when she was younger. So it sounds interesting. I've heard good things from everyone who's read it so far. Really love the cover design and the general premise. I've loved all Jay Kristoff's other books that I've read. I'm feeling this is going to be a pretty good one, so again, comes out August 11th. Can't wait to dive into this very soon. The next one I have on my list is by an author whom I've read before as well. The series I've read by her before is this one. It is The Glamorous Histories by Mary Robinette Kowal. The new series, or the new book that is coming out, I don't know if it's a series or a standalone, but it's called Ghost Talkers. And I have to say, the cover of this one, I really love the colour tones on it. I just think it's absolutely beautiful. As far as I understand it, this series deals quite a lot with mediums and also with war, and I believe it's set in the time when there was a war on with Germany. I'm not sure whether it was like the Second World War, something like that, or whether it's a made-up one. But it deals with the idea of mediums, and we have soldiers in this storyline who have to report to a medium before they go to the front line, so that if they die, the mediums can report their deaths and can report anything that they found out. We also have a main character who we follow, and she finds out about the presence of a traitor within the ranks, and she tries to tell the people who are higher up than her, but they don't believe her, so she is left trying to sort out what is going to happen and how to stop this traitor all by herself. Sounds really good. Mary Robinette Kowal has a great writing style. She's very wonderful at what she does, and I'm really intrigued by this new series or new book that she's releasing, which comes out on August the 13th, so I'll certainly be picking up a copy of this. The next one that I have on my list is actually a novella, and this is being released by Tor.com. It is a novella by an author who I have read stuff by before, and that author is Kij Johnson, who wrote At the Mouth of the River of Bees. I adore Kij Johnson. I particularly adore her short stories, and I have loved almost every one I've read by her, so of course I want to pick up this new one when it comes out. This is called The Dream Quest of Villette Beau, and it comes out in August as well, on the 16th. As far as I know, this is kind of linked to an H.P. Lovecraft story, and it's kind of a retelling or reimagining of that. I've not read any H.P. Lovecraft, but I'm certain it will be fantastic either way. I believe this deals a lot with dreams and mysterious kind of Lovecraftian images and bizarre, crazy landscapes. I don't know a lot more than that, but I'm sure it'll be really good because it's Kij Johnson and her stuff is always fantastically beautiful and really wonderful to read, so I'm sure I will like it and I can't wait to pick that one up. The next one I have on my list is also by an author I've read before, and this is N.K. Jemisin. I've read the first one in this series, which is the 5th season, fairly recently for the BookTube SFF Awards, and the second one is due to come out later this year, so I'm very intrigued because the first one was quite crazy and very clever, and I'm very excited to see how the second one compares to that first one. I don't want to give away a lot of the plot, but in the first one we followed a few different storylines and a few different characters, and by the end of that first book, a lot of crazy stuff had been revealed and kind of hinted at. I'm sure the second one's going to open up the world a bit more, and hopefully it will be really, really good. So The Obelisk Gate comes out on August 16th as well, and I'll certainly be picking up a copy of that. I'm going to do one more in this section of the video, and then I'm going to go on to part 2. So the last one I want to mention is another one from Tor.com, so it's a novella, and this is a new one being released by Marie Brennan, who wrote the Natural History of Dragons series, or the Memoirs of Lady Trent series, which I have been reading and adoring very, very recently. This one comes out in September, and it comes out on the 13th. As far as I know, in this one we're following one female lead character, and it's kind of a battle within herself about the foe that she is going to face. It's kind of facing her own challenges, her own demons, and dealing with the quest that she is about to embark on, which is of a fantastical nature, I believe. It sounds very cool. Mary Brennan is a fabulous writer, and I've really enjoyed everything I've read by her so far, so I'll certainly be checking this one out once it is released. Those are all of the novellas and short stories and science fiction and fantasy stories that I'm super excited for from June to early September, but I have plenty more to tell you guys about, so I'm going to do some more from September to December, and you can check them out in part 2. I will have part 2 up super soon. Thank you all for watching. If I've missed any of the ones that you're super excited about from June to September, let me know, because I would love to hear if there are more that I need to add to this list. And if you haven't heard of any of the ones that I mentioned, definitely go and check them out, look them up, see if there's something you might be interested in too, because I think there are a lot of great sounding ones that I'm very excited to try out. So let me know which ones you're most intrigued by, and I will see you all very soon in part 2 of this video and my next videos. Bye!
Thank you for watching my video today. Go pick up a book, then come back and chat with me again.